Hello everybody, in case you haven't heard the news, in light of the recent A24 Backrooms film release, a local news station out in Green Bay went to the original Backrooms location and filmed a little story for the news. Let's watch and analyze it for a moment.
Known as creepypasta, a place you don't find, you fall into.
Anonymously posted it on 4chan. Wait a minute. I think I've seen that guy before. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am now officially a micro-celebrity, and during my 15 minutes of fame, I think that it's a good opportunity to talk about my perspective on what it was like setting up, going to the original Backrooms location, and being on the news for a short interview. Funny enough, the Channel 2 News Backroom story is the one that's gaining more traction, but I actually wasn't there that day for that interview. I was there for the Channel 5 interview, which was posted a few hours before the one that's getting a lot of views. Now you may be asking, out of all the people in the area, why did they pick me specifically to be a part of this short little news story? It was pure luck. Let me explain. A few days before the story aired, I was reached out to by a local reporter named Daniel, asking me if I'd like to come on down to the hobby town and talk about the backrooms for a little bit for this upcoming news story. And he got my contact from my film professor, who he reached out to before me, asking if they could interview my film professor about the backrooms. And my professor, being kind of an older guy, he didn't know anything about the backrooms, but I was in his documentary class and I decided to make my film about the backrooms since we were so close to the original location. So my professor gave Daniel my contact information, and here we are. I've been to the Hobby Town before. You can literally just go upstairs and film the original backrooms location if you just ask the staff. They're always super nice about it, and they're probably sick and tired of hearing it because apparently a lot of people have come in to this place before asking to go upstairs. And of course, when you're making a film about the backrooms, you need to be in that location. You need to, at least in part, go to the original spot. So I've already had a bit of a history there. So I get a time and place, and I go for the interview. But I'm talking to Daniel and his crew, and they're super nice. We just chat about the backrooms a little bit, talk about how crazy it is that such a big internet phenomenon is happening right in the local town of Oshkosh. And yeah, that was that. Eventually, we headed upstairs, sat down, flipped on the cameras. I talked for about 10-15 minutes. I gave him all the history, gave him everything I knew about the backrooms. And as you'd expect, they took a couple quotes from me and then published the article a couple hours afterwards. It was really cool to see. And as we were wrapping up this interview for Channel 5, I saw another news crew upstairs looking around and filming various parts of the upstairs hobby town. Out of sheer curiosity, I just had to stick around and see what happened. They were interviewing the owner of the place, who had just recently come into ownership of the hobby town. He's not the original. They tried to interview the original owner, the owner that was there when the original backrooms photo was taken, but he was not having it. I think he's sick and tired of people hitting him up and asking him about his role in this mysterious photo and the backrooms as a concept, which I can't blame him. He's definitely an older dude, probably retired now. Want some peace and quiet. I had my camera on me, so I got some footage of them interviewing the original store owner, and he knew some very interesting details about the original backrooms photo. Like, apparently the Hobby Town, before it was a Hobby Town, was a furniture store, and they were upstairs. That's why there were so many, like, random walls, is because it was a furniture store, and you, like, walked through, and saw, like, the little displays of furniture. And then shortly after, they took it down and replaced it with an RC racetrack, which is still standing today. He also knew the exact place and angle where the picture was taken. About where the owner was standing in the footage I have is where the backrooms picture was taken, facing away from the windows towards the wall. I ended up talking to this new news crew who works for Channel 2 News, the one that is gaining a lot of traction right now. I ended up securing an interview with them. It was much shorter than the one with Daniel, but I did it. Going into the interview, I was really focusing on, like, the core ideas of the backrooms, of the loneliness and isolation, along with bits of, like, nostalgia and canopsia, if you know that word. Kind of the whole liminal space feeling, and why that's important, why that has struck a chord with so many folks and has allowed the backrooms to become as big as it has become, though they seem to be more focused on the location itself and its ties to the A24 Backrooms film. I mean, which is fair. In the comments of the Channel 2 News one, people are kind of like dogging on how the reporters didn't seem to understand what the backrooms were. There's some like weird bits of dialogue. Like they say the backrooms is the urban legend known as creepypasta,
Creating the internet urban legend known as creepypasta.
which is kind of funny. From my conversations with the reporters, they didn't seem to know a whole lot about the backrooms, but they were still interested in the topic. In fact, the reporter that interviewed me for the Channel 2 News story pitched the story herself. This was her idea. and was excited to get it out. So I mean, it may sound like the reporters don't really know what they're talking about at points, but the reporters themselves, the people who actually went out there to film the story, did seem to take quite an interest in it. And fun fact too, the thumbnail for this interview was the picture I took. I took this picture. The Hobbytown was selling little note cards of the backrooms to kind of capitalize on the idea. Just these cute little postcards. Before I interviewed with Daniel, there was one left, and I just had to take a picture of it for a keepsake. And by the time I was talking with the Channel 2 news crew and doing that second interview, the postcard was gone. So I showed them that, and they asked me to send it to them, so I did. I won't sue for copyright, I gave him permission. But you know, I just think that's cool. So in short, me doing my final film on the backrooms is what allowed me to conveniently know the right people and have everything kind of fall into place where I got the opportunity to go up on the news and talk a little bit about the backrooms. So I mean, yeah, I guess I'll take my little place in history here. Gonna hang it up on my wall when I'm 50 years old. I'll be gazing at it like, oh, those were the glory days. In terms of my film, though, I'm not really going to release it yet. I think I'm going to go the film festival route first, kind of see where that ends up. It'll be on YouTube eventually, though. Hopefully when the backrooms is still relevant, but I don't really care about the views much. I just think I made a fairly weird and interesting project, kind of exploring liminal spaces and trying to capture that feeling of isolation and terrifying loneliness that the backrooms does a great job at replicating. The camera angle they had me at, though, was whack, dude. My jawline is way sharper than it looks like in the news, man. I swear, alright? I'm a looks maxer. But yeah, that's my story of how this coincidentally all came to be. I think I was destined for this, dude. My most popular video on this YouTube channel is about the backrooms. This interview was promised to me 3,000 years ago. But yeah, that's my story. I'm basically famous, so if you want to ride the wave of fame with me, then hit the like button. We'll clout farm together. Also, my brother's making a video game. Please play it. Please, please, please. Okay, goodbye.